Hey guys, Law with Hollywood First Look here at the Los Angeles premiere for May-December, a new film by Todd Haynes starring Natalie Portman and Julianne Moore. Let's take a first look.
I think she's a very complicated, very compelling character and clearly very emotionally fragile and volatile. And so it was kind of interesting that she has this sort of presence, she has this narrative that she presents to the world of somebody who's, in charge of her life and is sort of like living the dream of a princess with her prince and her family and her home. But in reality, she's someone who's transgressed greatly, so there's a huge distance between what she's presenting to the world and I think what she's feeling, and that's where that volatility and fragility comes in.
I mean, if you have the opportunity to speak to real people who are either similar to your character, or if you're playing a real person and they're alive and accessible, then, of course, meeting them. And it is sort of like journalists' work at the beginning, because you're kind of fact-finding as your first phase.
There was so much in between the text, and it was such a beautiful just blueprint to just like explore who Joe was and just this arrested development, right? And this like dichotomy of adolescence, of just this childlike man being in this adult body, and just how he had to survive as like an adaptive adult child, so to speak.
Butterflies are often a symbol of like catching beauty in its, in its brief moment of existence. And I think that's a really beautiful, obsession for Joe to have in the movie that we can kind of carry on to the larger story.
It made such an impression on me. It cut through. I was reading a lot of stuff. It was during COVID, but this script and its unique perspective and the confidence with which it was written and navigating these murky, complicated, the subject matter with humor, with pathos, with despair. It was a real invitation for hopefully making a film that could do a lot of the same.
My producing partner, Jessica Elbaum, she discovered the script from Samy Burch and kind of said, you should read this. This is really interesting. And I was like, you're totally right. This is incredible, really different and funny, but dark and complicated. And it was just one of these kismet things where Jess reached out to Natalie Portman, who said, yeah, I'm in. And let me reach out to Todd Haynes. And he was like, yeah, I'm in. And let me reach out to Julianne Moore. So all the building blocks fell into place. And then Charles is incredible. And it's it was just like a great combination of I think everyone within their schedules, things fell out and they were like, oh, I have time to do this. To get this done in 23 days and have something, this extraordinary, and to be able to go to a film, get to go to Cannes with a film. It was really cool. It's been great.
I mean, certainly there's the obvious inspirations, but then, there's just so many of these tabloid stories that we processed, just through the collective consciousness over the years, and us growing up in the 90s. I mean, there's the classic, that was the time for all this stuff. And so the idea was just to take something like that and imagine where they would be, 25 years into this, and all the things that haven't been said, and at this, point where the kids are going to be going off to school to graduate, and they're going to be left in this house, and kind of reevaluating things in a way that they maybe haven't before.
It is a sensitive subject, and there's sort of built into it, because it's 20 years later, because we're entering with this television actress with something to prove. There's just a lot more space and air and room for investigation and humor that maybe there wouldn't necessarily be if we're staring directly at the thing. It's fragmented. It's like through a prism.
It was so healing. I mean, Piper, Gabriel, Charles, and I were all actually half Korean, and getting to share my skin, my story, and now I share a tattoo with all of them. Yeah, it was really, really special. It was so healing on like my pride of being an Asian American story, and because there's a lot of stuff in my history where you kind of don't really know like what is kind of Asian hate and all that stuff, but getting to talk to them and connect with them on like a real level and share that stories was like so healing, and it rebuilt my confidence of being a strong Asian American woman. Yeah. They made it so easy. The first day I came to set, I was in the hair and makeup trailer, and Julie was down at the end, and they were like, hey, Julie, like, this is your daughter over here. And she, like, ran over and was like, you have freckles just like I do. And oh my gosh, it's so nice to meet you. And I was just like blown away by that attitude. And I mean, that just set the tone. That's what everyone on set was like. You know, Todd was so welcoming like that. And it was just, it's a really magical environment for sure.
I get this audition and I see these huge names, you know, Natalie Portman, Julianne Moore, and I don't even know what I'm looking at. This sounds like some fan fiction or something, right? But, you know, I do it, I book it, and then I get there and I'm like, oh my gosh, why I'm actually here, right? And then I meet them, and it's not what I expect at all, in the best way possible, They were so kind to me, and just, they held my hand along every step of the way, and I'm so grateful to them for that. So they're really my family, really.